Hello and welcome. My name is Tara, intuitive healer and teacher and specializing in shadow work. I am going to be talking about loneliness in this video, and I've been catching a lot of comments from people and also people I work with who express this deep feeling of loneliness. So I want to address it here in this video and offer some guidance as far as how to work with loneliness and what you might be experiencing through your transformative journey, or even if you're going through kind of like a little bit of a funk, not understanding what's happening in life or where you're going or what path you're meant to be on, or feeling maybe a little bit lost with life. Now, loneliness can come in because of many factors. It can come in because maybe you might be going through a powerful transformation. And if you're consciously aware of that transformation, you might need time to go through that, which is perfect. I have not really suffered from loneliness per se. I mean, I've gone through other things, but this is the one thing that actually, oddly enough, I haven't really felt deep loneliness. But I feel that maybe at one time in my life, I may have gone through some grief and I may have shut it out and concealed myself. So there are many different aspects or different mechanisms that we have within ourselves that can combat loneliness or can really succumb to the feeling of loneliness, emptiness, lack of belonging, lack of community, or lack of connectedness. So I want to address a couple different aspects of loneliness and what might be playing into the feeling of loneliness if this is resonating with you. Now, loneliness, as I mentioned, can initiate through the feeling of detachment, isolation, especially if you're going through a spiritual shift and transformative journey within yourself. You probably are going to go through that moment of maybe loneliness, definitely isolation. Isolation is very important. We need time on our own to understand our deeper selves. It is so important. It is so important. If there's a feeling of loneliness during that time, there's going to be a reason for it. And it's not because of the reason we think, not having people in our life, not having the right people in our life, not having a partner, for example. It comes from a place of not feeling complete and whole within ourselves. And this comes from a deeper place. So in our journey, in our life here, if we look to the outside world as an influence regarding ourselves, our inner world, then we're looking at it wrong. So when we look at the outside world as having influence on how we feel, then we're disconnecting from deeper within. And in order for us to find our wholeness and our complete self, we do, like I said, need to spend time alone. And if we have that feeling of loneliness, there's something within us that we need to address to feel more whole and complete within us. So if we are lonely and we want to meet someone, for example, be with someone, be in a relationship, meeting someone because we're lonely is not going to be healthy, and it is going to attract the wrong person. And I'm going to also preface that there's no such thing as wrong or right. We also need to learn through these experiences. So there's nothing wrong with, if you feel like you want to meet someone and you feel like you would feel better, then you can go through that exercise. But what will happen is, if you feel that you need to be with someone in order to feel better, then it's going to be temporary and you're going to attract the wrong person, because there's something within yourself that needs to be addressed within you to help you feel whole and complete within yourself first. And it's easy to want to look for distractions in our life to make us feel whole and complete, to fill that void within us. But we have to fill it within ourselves first. And there's nothing wrong with taking time by yourself, for yourself, to find that, to become more whole and complete within yourself. And when you're whole and complete within yourself, that is when you are going to attract the right people in your life. That's when you're going to attract the right friendships. That's when you're going to feel like you are ready for a relationship. And sometimes we feel that we're ready, and then we go into a relationship and there's still something that needs to be worked on. And that's okay. That's okay. That's how we figure this out. That's how we figure ourselves out, right? So loneliness is, again, a feeling that needs to be addressed on a deeper level. It does not come from being alone. It comes from something else. It comes from a need. It comes from a desire. It comes from lack maybe low worth. I am not worthy. Maybe I can't be with someone. And this is also really important too. If the mind, if the words that you are thinking, that you are saying, I am so lonely, maybe loneliness comes from being abused or taken advantage of or being betrayed. All of those, if this is resonating, then those need to be healed. They are outside circumstances and events that have triggered something deeper within. So the feeling of maybe it's not safe to be with people, I can't trust anyone, I've been taken advantage of, and then going into isolation and loneliness, then that's something deeper that needs to be looked at with regard to the situations that you have encountered, what they have triggered within yourself. Because the story that we say to ourselves and to the outer world becomes our reality, becomes our truth. And it's so important to be aware of that. I am so lonely. Why am I so alone? I'm never going to meet the people I want in my life. I'm never going to have a healthy relationship. I can't trust anyone. I keep attracting the wrong people. Then that is going to be your reality. That is the narrative and the story that has been developed over however much time that has become your truth. And it's really important to be aware of what we're saying to ourselves and what we're saying out into the universe, because we create that story, but our ego too holds on to that because it's part of our identity. And so it's really important to be aware of the cycles that we find ourselves in, what we perpetuate within our life, because also too, if we say that out into the universe, I can't trust anyone, I keep meeting toxic relationships, I keep attracting the wrong people, I don't have any friends, then that is going to be your reality. That is going to be the state of being that you are going to remain in until it changes. But that has to also come from a deeper belief system. It's one thing saying it and reversing the words. I feel so good. I am full of life. I am whole. I am complete. I am attracting the right people. I have a loving partner. It's one thing saying it, but it's another thing believing it. And the ego might come in and say, well, that's not true. That's ridiculous. That is so far from the truth of my reality. Then you have to watch that, because then that's the ego coming in and putting a big wedge in between the life you want and where you're at. So it's really, really important to get deeper with this loneliness feeling of where is that really coming from? Because it is coming from a deeper place. It has nothing to do with the fact that there's no one in your life or that you're not in a relationship. That's not the truth of the situation. It comes from somewhere deeper within. Loneliness can also lead to self-isolation. So that's also very important. It goes back to what I was saying about maybe not trusting people or being taken advantage of or being abused or being hurt. You know, those hurts and those pains and those abuses are experiences. They're not great. I know they are not great. But we will only keep living in them and in that story if we perpetuate it within ourselves. And we have to see those experiences as experiences, identify what lessons we have learned from them, what have they taught us, and work out of them. Find the deeper root cause of those experiences, what has been embedded within us because of them, or what cycles we might be repeating. And learn to let go of them, break free and break the cycle of that experience that could be lingering, the attachment of it or the story of it. And so if you find yourself in loneliness, if you feel yourself lonely, there's a reason for it. And being alone is not a bad thing, as long as you are working with that time constructively. And there will be peaks and valleys. There will be highs and lows. There will be really, really difficult times being alone. But that's also serving a purpose for change. If we don't change, if we're not working on ourselves, then we won't make a difference in our life, period. If we don't continually work on these feelings of uncomfortableness and pain and loneliness and isolation, then we're not going to actually make a difference. And we're not going to get ourselves out of it in a constructive and healthy way, in a positive way. So again, I have to reiterate, being alone is not a bad thing. And if you're alone and you want to be alone because you want to focus on yourself and go through process of healing and transformation, making changes in your life, that's good. And yes, you will hit moments that will be really difficult. You'll hit moments that will be really great. And this is the journey that I've been on. This is why I talk about this. But if you are lonely and you are in that perpetual state of loneliness and isolation, shutting people out, not wanting to talk to anyone, maybe not trusting people, being hurt, living in the narrative that I'm alone, I can't meet anyone, I'll never be happy, I won't meet the right people in my life, I won't have the right relationship, etc., then you'll get stuck there and it won't change. And so it's really important to be aware of that and work constructively at getting out of it and changing the mindset and work on the deeper subconscious shadow work, because there are things stored within the subconscious that really hook us into that feeling of loneliness and despair and the feeling that things are never going to change. But we can break these cycles. We can change everything in our life. We are not victims. We are not here to experience bad things, but we can get stuck in them very easily. So it's really important to be aware of what is the mind saying. The emotions can literally control our lives as well. So do you want your emotions to control your life, or do you want to take control of your reality? And I say that I say that lightly, because it's not being the creator of our reality, being aware, creating greater consciousness of ourselves and our environment. It's not about control. It's about empowerment. And it's about being very aware of what we are doing, what we are thinking, how we are feeling, and working towards making it better, working towards creating a better life for ourselves. It takes time. Be patient with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. If you have a day where you're feeling miserable and you're feeling upset and you're feeling lonely, that is okay. That is okay. Just work towards implementing constructive steps to work your way out of it. Okay, I recognize that I'm going back into my old patterns. I'm going to change it. My life really isn't that bad. I really am feeling great about myself. I am full. I am working towards a greater experience in my life. I am attracting the right people in my life, and it will happen. Trust me. All right, so I hope this offered you a bit of guidance when you need it the most. If you have any questions at all, leave them here. I will get back to you right away. And if you need any help and guidance throughout your journey as well, you can feel free to contact me at any time, and I'll get back as soon as I can. All right, so I'm wishing you all the best with your transformative journey and beyond. Until next time, take care.